Welcome back. Lyle the animal handler and his assistant Kat have moved into the audience with their scary-looking friends. At least some of the audience is freaked out by one of these guys. Yet none of these snakes is really a threat to us. We are programmed to fear minor threats like that. It's something to contemplate as we face our fears this Halloween. And now it's your turn and our studio audience's turn to talk back to tonight's guests, fear sociologist Margee Kerr and the Heartland Institute's James Taylor. So who's first? You, right next to the snakes looking calm. Oh, you just have no issues. What's your question? Stop stroking it.
On the issue of running out of resources, now food and water are essentially non-issues at this point, but hydrocarbon-based fuels in the ground, oil, coal, if we kept using them, at some point we would run out. Like, we keep finding more and more, but maybe 500 years down the road, it's fair to say we would run out.
So, yeah, if we keep using anything, essentially, we're going to run out unless it regenerates. But we also know that a couple hundred years from now, we probably are going to discover all sorts of new ways to power our economy. If we decide that we're going to leave these resources in the ground for conservation, what good is it doing us? We're using them because they enhance human health and welfare.
Yes, sir.
There's a question for Ms. Kerr. In your experience researching human fear, what differences, if any, have you found between what men fear and what women fear?
I haven't looked at a lot of gender differences in fear. The startle response is pretty universal, so humans are going to jump when they're startled by something. And then beyond that, it's going to depend on where a person is, where they grew up, their developmental history.
I think women fear more stuff. You were on to something. You should research that. Yes, sir.
For haunted houses, are there any scary actions that just go too far?
Oh, sure. And, I think a really good haunted house is going to make space for customers to leave, without being shamed, without being told, oh, they chickened out, but to, say, oh, you did a great job. You made it this far.
Yes, sir.
So I can accept that we actually have a lot of energy. But if I were a green lobbyist or an environmentally sided politician, I'd say that's only because of all of the efforts we've taken since the 70s to conserve. Is there any validity in that?
No validity whatsoever. We're probably using more now than we were then, not just as a whole, but even per person. It's not an issue.
Yes?
Why is it that fear tends to be a more powerful motivator for human behavior than a more positive tendency towards motivation?
Because fear has kept us alive. I mean, it really is fundamental to our survival. So, we've evolved to make sure that it works really well and really fast and motivates change really quickly.
Yes?
Okay. Yes, my question goes to Mr. Taylor.
And are you bothered by the snake next to you?
Oh, no, not at all. No, not at all. I can understand... I can...
Go ahead.
Okay. I can understand the fact that there's really no threat on the loss of natural resources like natural gas and oil during our lifetimes. But would you say that there's a legitimate fear of the effects of the extraction of these natural resources, such as contaminating public water supplies?
There really isn't. We should be taking steps to make sure that it's done in an environmentally responsible manner. We pretty much do that. So basically you inject it underground, hundreds of feet beneath the surface. You make sure that it's not going to poison the water at the surface. And we have a pretty good environmental record.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Question.
You're wearing a Trump sticker?
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. Your question, please.
Who do you believe?
We can go on the internet and we can read the studies ourselves, we can read the data for themselves, and we can form our own conclusions, and we can get the opinions of other people, of experts, of scientists that have posted it out there, and then we can ask questions, we can interact. It's a wonderful age we live in.
If you had to recommend one thing to read, what would that be?
I would recommend, if it's a global warming issue, I would recommend What's Up With That. It's a great blog of the latest scientific developments, and you'll get the science from a realist perspective.
All right, well, thank you, James, Margee, and Kat and Lyle, and your snakes.